We're on to Champion Select now, waiting for those bans to come out. What really caused problems for Overclockers on Nihilo? I don't feel like a whole lot. I feel like if anything's going to come out, it's going to be just bans that will are meta-based, and then maybe something against Morsu.
So coming into this week, looking at the picks and bans from week 4, which was the same patch that we're currently on, Tahm Kench is enabled for this week's picks and bans. So 100% pick ban last week, we actually saw Ryze, Kalista, Rek'Sai, Gragas, and Sivir all be in 100% of games in some capacity. So those are the ones that we're expecting. Yep. We're also expecting a lot of growth with regards to the meta that we were talking to Sayo about last week. So we'll see whether anything creeps through, but we've had a couple more of the bans come through.
We have. The Ryze gets banned out this time by Nihilo, so they don't want Kubon to have it, and they probably don't want Morsu to play it either. The Azir now comes out onto Overclockers. That will be, of course, aimed at Godzuki, has played that champion before. Alistar will just be that, again, that support ban that will be taken away from Libic. Just such a strong contender in the current meta.
A lot of focus from Overclockers on that middle lane. Yeah. Ezreal, obviously, with the Rune Glaive right now, still very strong. And normally I wouldn't say Aurelia would be a mid lane ban, but it is kind of... We saw Soren play it, we've seen Faker play it, we've seen a couple of people play it. It's not a mid-game focus because it, you know, Morsu likes to play a split pusher, but certainly that's kind of a flex ban. I still think it's more towards Morsu.
Yeah, for sure. Morsu likes those solo pushes, but so does Kubon. That is the Kubon champion, so that's taken away off the board for this one. Nihilo, 1 ban remaining. Where will they throw it? It will be the Twisted Fate at Take Fun. Okay, one of the champions he's moved to as the Assassin meta has moved away from him. Twisted Fate has been the champion he's picked up.
I believe last week banned in 3 games, picked in 1 and lost. Yeah. So hasn't had the best record in Challenger, but one thing has slipped through the picks and bans, and that is the Kalista. Now we saw people talking about less priority on Kalista, but she's still very strong. That's why we're seeing it first pick. Sivir and Corki are still available here for Nihilo, so they don't need to rush to get a bot lane pick. Both junglers in Rek'Sai and Nidalee and Gragas are still available. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where Nihilo go here. They have a lot of options they can still go for their next 2 picks.
It's interesting though, because as you mentioned, Kalista's fallen down the priority list, and it's still a first pick for Overclockers. Are they stuck behind the times? We've seen other regions, specifically the Asian regions, Sivir is like the way to go. We'll pick up Sivir, we'll just have that composition built around it. Kalista will still be the first pick. Now Nihilo can just wait on their AD carry, and they prioritize the Nautilus and Gragas over that. And that will be thrown in probably top lane, could be support, and definitely jungle.
They've left the Nidalee available into the Gragas, which is a matchup that people have talked about now, about this jungle matchup. The Nidalee is actually a favorable matchup, just by a little bit, into Gragas these days. So interesting that Impaler doesn't want to go on to Nidalee himself and lets Tabasco have it the same as yesterday. We saw how much Tabasco did from the jungle, but obviously Overclockers in no rush to pick up their jungle are going to pick up their top and their support with the Hecarim and the Thresh. I like these picks. Libic works very, very well on Thresh. It's one of the champions that we know he's very strong on.
Yeah, it's also funny because we mentioned this through all the weeks that all of the supports in Challenger are super great Thresh players at the moment, honestly. But yeah, Libic, great for the champion. Hecarim has been picked up as well. Will most likely go on to Kubon. We don't know what the top lane is just yet from Nihilo. Of course, that Nautilus is a flex, and we are just waiting on the final 2 picks from OC.
My assumption is Morsu's going to pick Gnar. That's the standard matchup that we see. Then again, it's Morsu, so he'll probably just last pick Fiora, depending on...
I was going to say, is Gnar a Morsu champion? I don't think I've seen Morsu on Gnar, man.
I agree. I don't think it's a Morsu champion.
Does it have tanky stats? If yes, I'm not playing it.
Hey, no, it doesn't have to. Wicked has shown us. Black Cleaver, Frozen Mallet, Hurricane, okay? Yeah. It's 3-0 in the European Challenger Series.
It's true,
in the summer split. So maybe Morsu has gone to the Church of Wicked for that pick.
That's the adaptation he needs.
Tristana and Victor locked in here. This is going to give Nihilo the ability to not only push towers very quickly with the Tristana, but also give them the freedom of leaving kind of a lane with less pressure in it. The Victor can just wave clear out.
Right.
So expect Nihilo to look for the side lane towers fairly quickly in this game and just let Victor sit in the middle lane and deal whatever's thrown at him.
Well, that's the theory, but we'll see if they can put that into practice. Kog'Maw will be the next to last pick in from Overclockers, along with Rek'Sai for the jungle. So we do know where everything is going to go now. Take Fun on Kog'Maw, though. That's a new one. We'll talk about that in a second as we are waiting on Nihilo. In fact, we have time now.
We do. We have got some time because I expect Morsu to take some time over figuring out what he wants here. As you said, still could be Nautilus in the top lane. That is a possibility. Haven't seen it all that much in Europe. Saw it a couple of games last week, but not really the top tier pickup here. So where does that leave us? Nihilo. If they were to go with a Fizz, then they're relying basically on Victor just for wave clear, which isn't particularly much of a problem. Triss does have some with the explosive shot as well, but it's not exactly consistent, and does mean that Tristana has to, for the earlier levels, push herself a little bit further forward. They do lock in the Fizz, so Morsu finds himself a matchup where he can look to 1 versus 1, and the question is, how long until Kubon can't 1 versus 1 Morsu anymore on the Fizz in Hecarim, because that's the tipping point for this game.
Yeah, that's where the problems will start seeping in. But now we have the full compositions. The only big difference here in terms of people playing different stuff is Takefun's on the Cogmore now. Typically has not been the playstyle that Takefun has adopted over the last couple of weeks, and indeed knowing him as a player for a while now. This is a different playstyle. It's looking for the long-range poke into those setups for team fights, in which they do have initiation as well. So if Overclockers isn't played as well, is a good composition. Yeah,
although I'm not sure how the Cogmore... So it doesn't intrinsically fit into an engaged composition all that well, because you're relying on the spacing between yourself and the enemy team to at least have that buffer of I'm not going to get dived super quick. So if Hecarim's going in and Rek'Sai is going in and Thresh is getting Kalista ulted in, there's not a whole lot of peel for the Cogmore. So if Fizz comes around the side, you can get onto him. But I mean, it's to do with how Overclockers can position Takefun in this fight. Over on the other side, I think it's a fairly much easier composition to look at and you know, say exactly what's going to happen. Morsu wants to split push as always. Triss is going to want to push down towers, and Victor is going to wave clear it away. And from that, they've got Gragas to disengage, and Nautilus as well, should they need that bit of peel, or a lot of peel, because there's a lot of peel that comes from Nautilus.
Yeah, we'll see how the Victor does as well, because more of a champion that's great at like dealing with people who's running at you. But either way, let's get into this one. Remember to tweet on Twitter using those hashtags OCWin or EXNWin. Tweet at LOL Esports. I'll be checking in on your thoughts during the game.
And my thoughts during on the game.
This
could be quite a fun, open, loose kind of game. Because, again, it's for pride, but whoever loses this game has the worst record of any CS team this season.
This season, yeah.
Yeah, because Mouse went 2-8 last week. 2-8.
Very true. Let's get into this one, Stress. Overclockers on the blue, Nihilo on the right, on the red team. Who will get this game? Who will prove they are better than the other? And maybe can do something in the next split, because neither team looks horrific. They all have good points. It's just about making sure that they can expand upon those good points and cover up a lot of the weaknesses that have been showing against other teams, which has put them behind. But this is definitely a more level playing field that we've seen so far in the summer split. And we'll see how this one works out. Everyone's just fanning out. I'm not going to have too much happening in the early game here.
Yes, not for now. But I think one of the most intriguing things is, like, you look at the experience on the lineup from Nihilo and even on the side of Overclockers. Overclockers less so with regards to LCS, but I mean, Nihilo, they've got players that have been on the top of the LCS scene. They've swapped a couple out now as well, and it's so strange to see them at this point in the standings. And especially when it comes to just even sometimes it's individual mistakes that are just creeping into the play. It's just a weird one, and I kind of struggle to see exactly where they can improve without, you know, just kind of overhauling their decision-making inside the game.
Yeah, it feels like that is the case. Like, we were coming into the split saying, Nihilo, Denial, look at all these LCS players. They should be top 2. Nope, Dignitas came out of nowhere and crushed everybody. And then Gamers 2 as well have really been showing what they've made of over the weeks. But yeah, Nihilo have just not really shown how strong they are, or shown any strengths really at all in this split. The one win that they had so far was because the opposing team was running at Nihilo while they were running at them, and then the bigger freight train won. So.
It did. I also have to kind of commend Nihilo for their start against Team Dignitas last week. They did show that they changed how they were playing with regards to the objectives they were taking in the game. Yesterday, not so much.
That was a week 3 Nihilo that we saw yesterday.
Right. It was Nihilo that weren't really focusing on things, but certainly they've shown us that they can fix those problems, as have Overclockers, to be honest. Their game against Dignitas, it's weird. Why do the bottom teams have such great starts on our broadcasted games against Team Dignitas, but yet against each other, kind of fall apart?
They over-prepare for Dignitas. We've got to put up a strong showing to the alpha in the group.
I wonder whether there's a second edge to that sword. But nevertheless, teleport coming in the top side from Morsu to hit that level 2. You can see Karim did basically the same thing with Kuban, hitting level 2 as well. So now junglers are solo. And they're both on the bottom side of the map in standard lanes. So I'm not expecting all that much for the next couple of minutes without some real mistakes when it comes to lane positioning.
Yeah, Impaler could go bot lane here, and we've seen from yesterday Tabasco had a very good read on where Impaler was going to be. They actually did just spot Impaler just there with the Sentinel coming in from Kalista, so they'll know that Impaler is going up the river here. And he is going into the opposing jungle, but there's nothing there. He may loop all the way around.
Yeah, there is absolutely nothing here. Impaler went double buff, and then is looking to get out elsewhere on the map, get the crab, try and find Tabasco in the jungle. Tabasco on the other side did, however, just clear out his bottom side. Still hasn't gone for blue buff yet, but Takefun's running up towards him. Godzuki senses that something's up as Takefun turns. I think they have an idea that Tabasco was there. Didn't find him on the lower side of the jungle. Must be up on the top.
Also, no reason for Takefun to turn back into the two aggressors.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't take a genius to read that one. In the top lane, Morsu is going to be farming on the tower here. Slightly behind in that farm. He won't be able to get a lot of those minions, actually, as the tower damage comes in. Yeah, losing a lot of those.
I think he thought he could get that first melee. Oh, Celiva.
Yeah, that would have set him up in terms of tempo for CSing underneath that turret. Celiva taking a bunch of damage from the explosive charge there from Crazy Caps. And Celiva will net the rest of these minions. You can see how he's setting up the minions with the Ren stacks and then piercing through them, trying to get them onto those targets.
So this is a really interesting matchup when it comes to the bottom lane for the Kalista and the Tristan, although Morsu's taking himself a weird matchup in the top lane, getting really chunked down by Kuban. But that bottom lane AD carry matchup, when you look at it, it used to be that Kalista kind of had a more beneficial matchup against Tristana until Tristana, there was a weird curve. Like, Kalista would have the advantage to begin, then Tristana would take over, and Kalista, once she's got about 7 or 8 Ren stacks, then you start to be able to actually compete. However, the changes to Kalista reduced her damage, and I feel like Tristana has a much more favorable matchup now, but Morsu, again, top lane.
Oh, flash into the knockup, though, from Tabasco. There's the first blood going over to Kuban. Morsu will be dropping again for first blood. Bot lane, though, Crazy Cats is getting aggressed upon. There's the Ren coming through. Libic is looking for blood. He starts the support. He gets the hook all the way through the Nautilus as well. Crazy Cats will be heading up behind the turret. The flay backwards into his AD carry. But right now, Celiva just wants to be farming.
That was maybe a pixel or two away from hitting naught in that situation. Yeah. Couldn't quite see how it managed to find Crazy Caps, but it did. Burns both of his summoners. Yeah. I mean, he's not quite slow, so I guess he's not too good at being a goalkeeper for hooks. But Celiva right now and Libic have control of this bottom lane. Look at it, 10 CS advantage right now. So regardless of the fact that Tristana in more prolonged trades should have the advantage, that Tristana is losing out in this match.
Oh, welcome to Hook City, Zaitan. Population new. It's taking a lot of damage in there. Just to get the Titan draft down, so it's not too bad. That was a mistake by Crazy Caps. He just explosive charged the minion wave and lost 5 minions because it exploded at the wrong HP. What he wanted was one more auto attack on the minion, which would have dropped them all low enough to attack another one and would have exploded all of them. That's what he wanted, but it was one auto attack away.
I looked at it and I was thinking that's such a sorry state to be in. Like, you got this minion wave coming towards you, like, I'm gonna get all of them.
Lessons on how not to CS in the turret by Crazy Caps and Morsi.
Yeah, Impaler knows he can't enter that bush though. He's currently playing
it's like
Secret Agent Impaler,
mission,
which,
right?
you know, it's the return of the Secret Agent Nunu that we had from LCK, but it wasn't exactly stealthy. He just runs up and hits it twice.
Unfortunately, these Sentinels are not as bad as Solid Snake was up against, so... Yeah.
What was that just now?
Impaler also looks a little different from Solid Snake, I've got to say, on Gragas here. Oh, he's been spotted again. Man, he is not stealthy at all. Nope. 2 for 2. Both guards found him.
Yeah, I mean, one he was kind of wailing on. I don't really...
I'd spotted him at first before he decided to turn and fight him.
I am really kind of confused by this matchup that Morsu has put himself into right now, because he's basically sacrificed a lot of his laning phase with this Fizz into Hecarim matchup. Since Kubon managed to get there first, Kubon is landing more damage in the trades and is just more effectively laning this, and they brought jungle up to help to kill him earlier. Now Morsu goes aggressive, doesn't quite have the damage, and it's just an ult for ult trade at this point. So Morsu's been on a bit of a rough end of the deal, got to the lane late, got ganked, lost his life. It's a tough spot to be in, but he is no Flash, so if Morsu burns his E here, Kubon is going to engage.
Oh, you mean like that, Stress? As Tabasco just goes in for the easy knockup, comes in with a Queen's Wrath, and picks up the kill.
I mean, that's a gank that you can read every single day of the week. A no-flash Fizz tries to go aggressive when you know your jungle is around and you're both half health. Even though he was trying to get out, just not really able to do anything about that. Zaitan in the bottom lane got hooked in. Crazy Cap said, see ya, and has already recalled out, but it's not going to be enough for a kill.
Flash into the dredge line, gets her to the turret. Again, Lipic landing a miracle hook. Last time it was between the legs of Nautilus. This time it was through the minion wave as he was going into the bush. Still connects it and forces the flash from Zaitan, which is a pretty nice thing to have in the bottom lane there. Reduces his offensive capabilities quite significantly. They've actually burned all of the defensive summoners down in the bottom lane, while Overclockers still have all of them and have the CS lead. And Lipic is still pressing behind the minions.
Yeah, they haven't had the chance to go back right now, so Crazy Caps is going to pick up some CS under the turret and kind of look to equalize some of that CS difference. However, Crazy Caps has a BF sword. I'm expecting Saliva to go pick up a Bilgewater, the Cutlass, and maybe a longsword as well. Daggers? Yeah, my bad. Longsword. Don't need one of those anymore. You're looking for that Rika bow from it. The Cutlass with that. So now what they have to watch out for in the bottom lane is Saliva, when he has that active available. Tie that in with the damage, obviously, that's going to come from the Rend, from the Q. That's the point at which Crazy Caps kind of has to respect that in a shorter trade, it's not going to go so well his way.
Definitely the case. Mid lane, hello Take Fun. We haven't spoken about you too much this game. Sitting on the Kog'Maw versus Godzuki's Victor. Honestly, not a whole lot has happened in the mid lane. Hey Libic, how's it going? That pink ward's going to be cleared away there. Yeah, slight CS advantage over to Godzuki in this game so far. We had a slight interaction with the jungler before, but that's it. Morsu in the top lane misses the ultimate. I actually want to go back to the ultimate that Kubon used earlier because it was actually unnecessary, because there was no real follow-up damage from Morsu, who didn't have his ignite. So it may have been poor timing on Kubon's read on the ignite, or not entirely sure. Tabasco was looking for the gank, but Morsu did smite it out. Alternatively, he might have just really wanted to go back at that precise moment, and will be teleporting back in.
So, both kills in this game have come from the top lane, with Morsu falling twice. I like the priority that Overclockers have put on the top lane. Obviously, Morsu needs to be strong enough to 1 versus 1. Impaler on the other side is putting his priority on the bottom side. Body Slam to follow up, surely.
There's the dredge line, there's the Fate's Core. Yeah. So they burn the ultimate there and get a chunk of damage onto Libic. But yeah, that's the problem with focusing on support in that matchup, because Kallista's always going to save in post 6.
Yeah, I mean, Overclockers, I don't think are going to be too unhappy with that. I mean, they read where the jungler was. Now they can figure out whether he's sticking around in the bottom lane, and maybe even look for a gank or the dragon for themselves. They do have decent ward coverage, but there is one from Nihilo just in front of the dragon pit. So depending on whether Impaler shows himself in the top lane in the next minute or so, maybe Overclocker's time to shine. I feel like Kubon has to defend that pink ward though for now, because that's going to be the key thing to reveal Impaler when he goes up there.
Morsu wants it. He's going to wait until Kubon goes away.
Kubon's just going to sit on that pink ward, because look at where the wave is. Actually, no, look at where the wave is. He has to go. Yeah, exactly. I was about to say, look at where the wave is. Morsu can't farm, but Kubon needs to farm this wave. He's gonna
go to the tower.
Morsu desperately wants this. Does Kubon ult back for... No, so farm over the pink ward. Okay. Yeah. And here comes Impaler. This timing could not be more frustrating. Wouldn't have actually been spotted out by the pink ward for the first time anyway, but if he goes up the river, he would have. That's just frustrating.
Morsu's going to bait him as well. Kubon looking for the ultimate. May pick up the kill before Impaler arrives, though. Comes in with the flog. Pins him against the wall, turns around with the Urchin Strike, and takes him out. All he wanted was the farm. Morsu outplayed him in all fields.
The most expensive farm I think Kubon's ever going to have when it comes to the worth from that. That was well played with the mind games from Morsu, but it is the first kill for Nihilo on the board. Overclockers right now 2-1 up. Yeah, no team have really looked for the Dragon yet, and Impaler shows himself mid lane. Actually gets a Ghost straight away from Tabasco, even though the ult is on cooldown for Impaler. There was no real danger there.
Here comes the home guard. He's going to jump away. Blink the Trickster, get flattened. I'm hacker him. Oh, killing the bottom lane on Tasela, though. Pops him with the explosive charge. Does not get the mid-air play. Does not get the hook either. Oh, yellow star on that one.
The teleport being used there by Kuban, though, yes, it picks him up a kill. There's going to be a window where teleport advantage is going to be for EXN Nihilo. The Chaos Storm in the mid lane.
I just want to go back.
Wants to go back because he's got no mana. Has been forced out, so will force him to lose even more from that mid lane when he does back.
Not even sure if that was worth by God to. He could have just death raised and be done with it, but okay. Kuban in the top lane. 2 1-on-1 up against Morsu. Morsu very rarely loses the laning phase by himself, but has made some questionable decisions just in the 1-on-1 and has fallen behind. 1 and 3 in this game, has fallen behind in CS. Also did this yesterday on Rise.
I would also say that the gank from Rek'Sai would also make it not 1 versus 1, but...
True, but in the following 1v1s,
yeah, I agree.
Morsu, like, still went in weird circumstances and mechanically outplayed himself.
Yes, the subsequent ones, but that is at that point where Kuban was already ahead and got himself a kill and was like 20 CS.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you,
still waiting to come back into a game. Like, a lane is not over until it's like 2 kills or like 20 CS. That's kind of like the rule of thumb. It's not there. You still had outplay potential.
As you wish. Overclockers down in this bottom side do manage to secure themselves a ward after Zaitan put his down, but something to note at this point, with the tier stacking up on Kog'Maw, obviously we know looking for that Ludens and that tier point at which Kog'Maw becomes more effective after that level 11 that we've talked about so much. Once Overclockers reach that point, that's when they can really start looking to fight. It'll be around the same time, maybe a little bit after Kuban has got himself his Trinity Force as well. So that is when Overclockers will open this game up. Nihilo, however, need a little bit more time to get Crazy Caps, get him the 2 or 3 items, get Morsu up past that Trinity Force as well, so he can look to 1v1 people down in the lane. But I don't know whether he's going to get that opportunity with Kuban so far ahead right now. Kuban is up in CS and up in kills and is ahead on the itemization with the Ninja Tabi and most of the Triforce complete.
The other problem I have is Nihilo is not a good team at waiting. They very much like to just go for things now, like getting caught in the bottom lane once again. Another fantastic hook from Libic. Zaitan again misses the hook on the wall. That's a stationary object. I saw you do that yesterday as well.
Oh, Godbro wants it. He's got barrier available. Ooh, did not want it for the auto attack to follow as well.
Yeah,
but
the aftershock, man.
Yeah. Down in that bottom lane, though, that was, as you said, Nihilo getting picked off again as Overclock is setting up with the next gank. Kuban will meet Impaler on the top side, but is going to be able to just gallop his way out of it as his team secure themselves a tower on the bottom side of the map. Nihilo really just haven't been able to shove their side lanes out to even look to take them down with this Tristana. Crazy Caps is down in CS, has a kill to his name, but has never really had time in front of the tower all that much. He's had a bit here and there, but nothing to write home about. And Overclockers from the tower, from the pick, will get themselves a dragon.
Well, in the previous matchup we saw between these two teams, Overclockers did have complete control over the dragons, and it looks like this game is going to be no different. Morsu, though, is pushing the top turret, and Kuban's going to be late to the party. He just had those home guards who's going to be in lane in a little while, but Morsu will have gotten a fair chunk of damage onto that turret, which is the important thing. If they can even up the turrets and maybe get ahead in that sense, that could be a way they can push this game.
Yeah, so what Overclockers did there was they brought Kuban to the middle lane, just walked him down, didn't have teleport available. Ooh, Morsu actually had turret aggro for quite a while there. What they were doing is saying that either Morsu pushes on his own and doesn't get the turret, or if they push down the top tower, we at least defend mid tower from Victor just shoving it in constantly. And at that point, the map doesn't completely kind of open up for Overclockers. You can see mid tower is still fairly healthy, but Godbro was looking to just push things out and out. So Overclockers managed to keep all of their towers pretty healthy at this point.
Yeah, another laser coming through, 2 for 2. Well, we've been watching them. More living artilleries. Having to living artillery to farm is a sorry state of affairs for Kog'Maw. Again, not really a take from champion from what I've seen, but we'll see how it works out through the rest of the game. Again, another Death Ray comes in with the ultimate as well and just straight up kills him. Simple as that.
That looked far too easy for Godbro.
Yeah. Just walked up to him and comboed him. The end.
I mean, no summoners available, really. It had the Ghost, but Take Fun popped it way too late. Yeah. We see a lot of Victor and Varus in the EULCS matches. And, you know, I don't feel like COG's all that dissimilar. I just feel like COG can't trade as well in the early game. Because obviously they both want to poke, but Varus early game, you just have more damage coming out from it because you're building AD, you don't have to rely on items, you just have stronger auto attacks, you can push with your Q a lot more effectively than the Voidoos that Take Fun is using right now. You can just see every time Godbro just moves forward, puts the laser down. Yeah. Take Fun's just taking the laser, and between that and it not really being his style of meta champion, kind of underwhelming.
Yeah, very much so. I think the only man who would disagree with you is Power of Evil, who loves Wormmore, but apart from that, yeah, I completely agree. Impaler, though, into the bottom side of the mid lane. He's looking for this gank on to Mr. Cogmore. Wants to splatter this butterfly, but there is a ward over the wall, so Impaler's seen that and will have to back away. Tremor Sense also spotted him out from Tabasco. Libic in the bottom lane will take this opportunity to clear out the ward, do some spring cleaning in the bottom lane. Plays a ward over the wall, of course, as well, but has spotted Impaler, and Zaitan gets the smite down for the slow, is looking for the Fate's Call here to save his ally. There it is. Can he land the CC onto Celeber? A whole lot of nope.
Whole lot of nope at this point. And, you know, Nihilo, they're just trying to get anything they can in this game right now. They're not playing this on a macro level. In fact, Overclockers aren't even looking to do anything other than just sit in their lanes right now. Which is a little bit weird. I would expect them to put some focus onto mid tower for a bit, but they're also denying Nihilo from ever really pushing out. Morsu can't push on his own right now without vision of the jungler. The bot lane from Crazy Caps and Zaitan seem to not be able to push past Saliva and Libic at this point. So there's no real way of Nihilo getting back into this game until the next dragon comes up. That's going to be the one factor that could change this game, but honestly, Overclockers have enough of a lead in enough of their lanes, other than the mid lane, that this should be fairly comfortable second dragon.
Yeah, I feel like Godbro, the longer this game drags on, will have a bigger and bigger impact, especially right now when he's got that large advantage over mid lane. Victor, a good ultimate onto multiple people, does a lot of damage. Yeah. And Impaler is in this mid lane, potentially could set him up for that, at least maybe blasting one person into him for the combo. Take Fun going to be clearing away these minions while his counterparts out of the lane. Stellar in the bottom lane doing the same. Has that Blade of the Rune King, is building towards another recurve bow item. And on the opposing side, Crazy Caps is sitting on a finish edge. Of course, that other item will most likely be the Hurricane.
Yeah, it will be. And in the mid lane, Ludenseko has been picked up with the Sorcerer's Boots as well. So now Take Fun is going to start dealing a little bit more damage. This is the time for Overclockers really to look to pick off one or two members of Nihilo just time and time again. However, Morsus are going to pick up Kubon is the one. This hasn't worked out for him all that well. The team he's got are not in position yet. That was a bit of a quick fire by Morsu. Too early, jumping the gun.
At the same time, he got the damage down. Wasn't a whole lot of it, but
I think
still.
he would have liked the kill a little bit more. But
yeah, he would. He tried that earlier, didn't work out. Bot lane. Again, the Sentinels come out. Whoa, it's spotting anything. It's a pretty more like vision radius, but like all the places in the jungle are pretty like close quarters as well. So probably
just wants to hang out with wolves.
Yeah, yeah. Just do a 360, chill out. Yeah, going back to that build actually from Saliva, it's interesting because now that the changes were made to Kalista, where she benefits from 90% of AD, you found that attack speed builds and Blade of Rune King is very much the way to go in terms of early item builds for Kalista. Before, we could see anything from like a Bloodthirster even for a first item from him. Yep. Static Shiv we used to see even with the Bloodthirster. So
not anymore.
Difter.
Yeah. Blade of the Rune King and Hurricane is the way to go. Kubon, however, is about to run into three people from Nihilo. Zaitan misses another hook.
Yeah, this time he hits the wall. Godzuki, however, has been called out. Oh, that's gotta hurt. The fail flash into the wall. Doesn't actually pay for it for his life, though. Also a little slow on the draw with the teleport. Rest of the team is already disengaged, but Overclockers don't punish.
Overclockers choose not to take that fight because they can get the mid tower instead. They know Crazy Caps is in the bottom lane and Godzuki had already been chunked, but they don't want to commit to the turret. Look at this. I mean, okay, they go for Dragon instead, but 3 melee champions were under that turret. You should not be able to have that kind of pressure to force people away from the turret with at least dealing damage to begin with. Although now Nihilo are regrouping, coming back for this Dragon from Overclockers, but I feel like they could have punished that a little bit harder right now. That was a bit of a golden opportunity with the Victor not there.
Yeah, either way, they go for the safe option and pick up the Dragon. But now they're out of position to defend the middle turret, and Nihilo responds with the turret. They are still behind in those objectives, however, but in the bottom lane, Celeber was split pushing. Funny, like, Celeber is one of the 2 players in EUCS who is not naturally a split pusher, as in like a top lane champion who has split push capabilities, who will split push. The other one being Dan, who will just split push no matter what stage of the game it is. Okay, yes, I have the smite and Baron's going down, but whatever, I'm going to split push. Celeber likewise. I remember a game last split when he was on Graves, he was just chilling in mid lane, split pushing, picked up an inhibitor. That was back in spring. But yeah, these players just have a tendency to enjoy split pushing.
They do. But it did just cost the team a turret.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Knowing that Celeber was bot lane, there was Nihilo kind of do what Overclockers could have just done. Yeah. Run up to the turret. Okay, they got a Tristana, they got a Victor. They can just kind of clear the wave and put the explosive shot on the turret, but still think it's a missed opportunity from Overclockers. Nevertheless, it's the hand that has been dealt, so we'll see how Overclockers continue to play with it. But at this point, Overclockers are trying to take away the jungle from Nihilo, look to set up some vision to maybe create some picks for themselves, but I think it's going to be fairly hard worked unless Nihilo step out randomly at this point.
Which Nihilo have been prone to do. Nihilo, however, in this game have not just been grouping and brute force and charging objectives. That's another difference we've seen so far. So this, at the moment, I would like to say, it looks like a more looks like an Nihilo that was playing against Team Dignitas EU. Maybe not as proactive as we saw, but a little more calculated.
GodBro is so in Takefun's head right now. Neither of those lasers were going to hit. But because obviously he has to stop the recall.
He gets the flay. There is the knockup as well. Kuma from the top lane. Great interrupt by Impaler from over the wall, but still Godzuki will fall in with the onslaught of shadows. Gets the fear backwards into his team. Lands the living artillery for the vision. Lands the second and gets the double kill. Meanwhile, Zaitan, he finds the wall, but might find death as well as Kubon comes over the wall. Gets him with the rampage. Crazy Cats was thinking about dealing some damage, but thinks better of it and will head back to his turret. Morsu, meanwhile, is taking his turret in the top lane.
At this point, Overclockers take the mid lane turret from it and should just force this one down. It's going down fairly slowly. Where are Overclockers rotating out to? Are they going to do a Baron here? They have Kalista, and they have a fair amount of damage right now. We are going to a replay of that fight. This is the fight where GodBro just gets completely blown up. I believe they're still on the Baron right now. As this is a very early Baron from Overclockers. With that, Kalista should be able to get it, but this is the fight that's kind of just happened. Impaler just gets nailed by this second here, but I really want to get back to live because Overclockers are on a Baron right now.
I need to know.
Have they done the Baron?
I need to know.
I really need to get back to live. Okay, they're still on the Baron right now, so that took a super long time to see. Morsu's got it.
Is that Wonderwork? Gets picked off in front of the Baron. Crazy Caps as well, right underneath. You won't actually get that joke until later on. But yeah, Overclockers taking the Baron down. We'll be going over to that team. The first Baron of the game, plus Dragon, plus those 3 turrets. Overclockers in a pretty good shape in this game. We'll be going back to base, regrouping, and hopefully being proactive.
Check into mid though. Lantern is out.
Oh,
hops to the Lantern, gets himself out.
Got him with the depth charge. That one's not going to miss. But yeah, Crazy Cats will go back to farming. Now Overclockers are in prime position. Actually, that delayed recall will put them behind maybe 30 seconds in any plan they were thinking of executing, because the rest of the team will need to get into position. Meanwhile, Impaler is going onto this red buff. And Celeber get out? No. Impaler smites it away.
Yes,
got away.
he does.
Smash and grab.
Smashing. Well, they just traded red buff for Baron at that point, with a couple of kills sprinkled in here and there. But right now, Overclockers with that Baron buff should have a much easier time now pushing in to Nihilo, and will actually deny Nihilo's ability to take towers themselves. But there's a Black Cleaver on a Rek'Sai.
Nice.
Not going for full tank, but
let's see how
we're going to see how it does.
Against Godbro here. Needs to get in range first to allow those auto attacks to land. Olivic's going to help him out with that with the double man flay, but gets Fate's called back into Celiva. Not sure if he entirely wanted that scenario, but the flash forwards from Celiva who would get the first kill with the Ren. Teleport now coming in by Morsu. Maybe a little bit too late, or maybe not. He's just going to cancel it. Screw you, Impaler. Goes down, and Celiva picks up the double kill. May have actually got interrupted in the top lane. Didn't quite see that from Hecarim. But Crazy Caps thinking about going to the bot lane with the support of Zaitan, but maybe not. Maybe one for another day. Perhaps we'll be getting out of this vicinity. I think maybe Nautilus was caught on the tremor sense there, and I think he was. Yeah, he was pinged out, so he'll be backing away. Also caught on the ward that was just placed down. And the bottom lane push continues by Overclockers.
Mid lane, though, Take Fun and Crazy Caps.
They're going at it, and oh, Crazy Caps gets taken out before Take Fun needs to do anything more about that one. Zaitan will be juking back into them, going underneath this turret. He'll be dropping low. He goes down for the double kill on to Take Fun. Take Fun has been racking up kills over the last couple of minutes, and the mid turret will be falling. Bot turret as well as getting sieged in. Saw the inner turret just going down, and the inhibitor turret is also going to fall. Oh, the last couple of minutes, Overclockers have accelerated this game. Okay, Celiva going underneath this turret, gets it with a rend as well. Was not even expecting that to happen. What is happening in this game, Stress? I feel like I've been play-by-playing for the last 2 minutes and a half.
It's because you have Pulse.
As Overclockers have just taken everything away from Nihilo.
Nihilo just kind of stood there in bottom lane and kind of went in one by one and gave Overclockers now 2 inhibs. From those couple of kills and the Baron, Overclockers just basically have set themselves up to win this game. Morsu, meanwhile, is trying to get an inner turret while the rest of his base dies. Nihilo have just fallen apart.
Yeah, Kuban tries to catch Morsu in the top lane rather, but Morsu, while all of that was happening, was in the top lane and may actually just die as Tabasco will find him with the Prey Seeker. Morsu with the hops, the jumps, the urchin strikes. Will be trying to get away from Kuban, but no one outruns the horse. Or maybe they do, because Kuban doesn't manage to land the E in the right way. Morsu is trying to get away, gets hit with a Prey Seeker. Kuban wants him. He's got it. Ignite. Outplayed. Impaler though. Let me give you another one. Buy one, get one free.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of kills that have kind of been like that for Nihilo, where they've just been walking into situations where you're never going to be able to help anyway. That's the most confusing thing about this, is why is Impaler even going up there? To help Morsu, who's a third of his health being chased down by a full health 2 members of Overclockers who are very fed. I mean, that question probably would be relevant a long time ago in this game, because I feel like Nihilo have just, ever since at least that Baron, have just kind of accepted that this one is not their game to win.
I appreciate the camaraderie though, right? Like, never leave a man behind. It's just like, leave me, I'm dead. It's like, no, I got you. And then they both die. So yeah, lesson learned, kids. If your allies was going to die anyway, just go and farm raptors or something. Probably more profitable.
Man, there's been some painful things for a couple of moments in this game, with Kuban losing out on that farm and losing his life.
Moments in this game, Stress.
At that point, but this is going to be the 3rd in-hit turret going down.
The living artillery is onto Godzuki, payback from the laning phase, but Celiva does get caught out, and then Pela lands the big ultimate, but another big ultimate by Kuban locks down the team of Nihilo. They're all dropping so low, and that is where Kalista thrives, if only she was alive, because Tabasco is the one to chase them down with Kuban. Meanwhile, Morsu going for the one-on-one versus Take Fun. Maybe he gets it, or not. Take Fun is going to take him out. There's the double kill once again. Double kills all game long. The last inhibitor goes down. The last Nexus turret goes down. And so will the Nexus itself. 19-4. Huge advantage by Overclockers. And this was all over in the course of the last 5 minutes. Overclockers are now the 5th place team in the EUCS.
It's the Mouse story all over again from spring. You
the dream. 2-8, the dream.
0-8 for the first 4 weeks and pick up 2 wins right at the end of the split. I mean, Overclockers looked solid. I wouldn't say too much more than that. They had a game plan, they played it. there were mistakes from both sides, but certainly an improvement on what we've seen from Overclockers. They looked proactive. That's one of the things that we've kind of said that they haven't done so much over the last 5 weeks. So I guess, as we said, it's a tale of improvement. Week 4 to week 5, Overclockers improved. Nihilo somehow kind of went backwards.
Yeah, it was went up and down. They had a spike. But yeah, Overclockers, they finished the game really well as well. After that one advantage, they just went from lane to 2 inhibitors after like 2 picks, destroyed everyone. And Kuban in that game as well, 11 KDA is Hecarim. Super impressive against Nihilo. Kuban just had a really good game. And that was 1v1 against Morsu, one of the most talented top lane 1v1 players as well. So, yeah, props.
Yeah, I mean, Morsu even got to pick the Fizz. Could have picked the Nah.
Yeah, exactly.
Could have.
He could have.
Probably chose the Fizz, wanted the Fizz matchup. Didn't work out for him.
No,
so,
it did not. Not at all stress. But that's 1 game down. So 2 to go. So we'll be back with our coverage of Mouse Sports versus Nihilo right after this.